Hearing some kind of hiss. I don't know what it is. But welcome to this edition of Responsible Daddy Hour. I know I haven't been consistent coming on at this time, but Monday, Tuesdays, and Wednesdays now I work. And the weather's been so nice that my daughter can walk with her friends or ride her bike, whatever she ends up doing. So, but I'm picking up today. It was raining hard when I talked to her mother. Stopped raining since. And, those of you that saw the show last night, I wasn't able to make it to the Crystal Shop or the Mall of America. But figure I'll go tomorrow because I forgot all about that. I got a doctor's appointment in the morning. So I'm going to go check that out. It was raining all morning. Now it stopped. So that's fine too. I guess the thing I'm going to leave about is the big sell-off in the stocks today. Down something like 1,200 points. They say it's going to be the first time that the sell-off, that the Dow might close under 1,000 points. So it's like the 8th time in history that's ever done that. So actually, to me, it's a good time to buy. I bought Bitcoin, I bought Ethereum. They're all both down. And Bitcoin is down to 36,000. Remember, Bitcoin went up to 60 something at one point. It's been teetering around 40, but now it's a big drop at 36. Ethereum is around 20 something hundred. Gold 1877 is dropped about 1,000 since last month. Silver, a high of 26 last month, is down to 22 something as when I left the house. So I say it's a good day to buy. I mean, a lot of like Netflix is losing subscribers left and right. All these, you have so many more options. And so that offer, because Netflix is kind of stale too. It's kind of stale as well. A lot of the same old stuff you can get in other channels. So, hey, Liquid Fire, how you doing? Thank you for joining me. It's getting a little stuffy in here, so I'm gonna roll the window down. It's about 50 degrees. So it's actually a pretty nice, I mean, other than rainy and wet, but it was raining hard. Like when I talked to her mother, she looked out, she's like, oh, it's raining hard. And I mean, you can see the cars. And it's funny, it's nothing but Fords lined up. There's a Chevy. So we got all these American cars. There's a Ford right here. There's another Taurus, a couple cars in front of me. It's a Fusion. So I don't get why. I mean, you can buy whatever you want to buy, but when you buy American cars, even used ones, that helps Americans. I don't get that thing. I mean, I grew up in a family where my father worked with General Motors. We never had, other than when I was a little boy, he had a Volkswagen bus, the kind I talked about that had the petroleum heater. I mean, literally, you've got a petroleum heater in your vehicle. That thing could blow up and kill everybody. That had to be some dangerous stuff. And kerosene, not petroleum, kerosene. And you know how bad kerosene makes you see. Hey, and Noble, thank you for joining. You know how kerosene, hey, D, what's happening? You know how kerosene make you smell? You'd go over to somebody's house, they got a kerosene heater, and that kerosene was smelling your clothes. Well, we had that in the van. And then we had a 62, 63 Benz diesel. And I told this story before where my dad had, he would get barrels of diesel delivered to the house. I don't think you can do that anymore. And then he had a little rubber tube that he would fill up. And of course, you could always get diesel at truck stops. So, hey, Conley, what's happening, man? Thank you for joining. So it's really, whatever you can afford. People don't realize this as you get targeted with car companies too. Like certain areas get targeted with car companies. And they'll give better rates to the people that live in the area. I don't know if people realize that. Because the first time I really paid attention to that was when I was in North Carolina with my ex-wife. And there was the first time a Kia place was near. And it was interesting. Everybody was driving Kias. And as I, years went by, I was able to see this kind of thing. So you can see who gets targeted and gets the good rates and stuff. It's like up here, most of the Asian people up here drive cars made in Japan. I mean, almost to a T. It's very rare you see one of the Hmong, one of the Vietnamese, Hmong is basically Chinese people that are from Vietnam. But even when they get used cars, I've said this before, there's in the hood of Minneapolis, there's a used car dealership that sells nothing but Asian cars. I went there 3 or 4 times. People wouldn't even come out and talk to me. But the people here are very, very conscious of the Asians drive only Asian cars. They're very conscious of that. And I mean, almost, I would say 90% or higher. I would dare to say 99% of them, when they drive cars, new or used, they drive cars produced generally out of Japan. And the key is from Korea. So, but you drive what you can afford and whatever rate you can get. But coming out of my background, it helps Americans when you get American vehicles. That's just a fact. Now here's a Mazda, and that's what my daughter's mother has. No, that can't. It's a little too far away. I got my glasses on. Can't tell. It pulled away. So, just want to give some positive talk of fathers, mothers, family, because we need a shot of positivity in family life. It's funny, this Johnny Depp thing. Why? Why has that got to be on TV? And that chick was with Epstein. They ain't put herself on TV. That tells you right there all you need to know. They gonna put out all Johnny Depp's dirty laundry, but they didn't put Epstein's girl's dirty laundry, did they? They hit her. Why ain't that on TV? They put shopping on TV. They put the other 3 dudes he was with all on TV, but they didn't put Epstein's girl on TV. So that's all you need to know on how fair or foul this thing is. And I think somebody on the show last night said, "Hey, CWE, what's happening?" Said the attack of, free speech. Definitely attack of free speech. They don't want anyone to speak. You see, they set up a new presidential disinformation, department, because now Musk has bought Twitter. So Biden's move for the liberals is to set up a division of misinformation. You see it? See the chess moves being made? Philly is done. Just give up. We'll see. We'll see. I don't really know. There's the potential there of Harding getting 45, but if he's less than that effort, then of course they're going to lose. Not going to the free throw line 30 times. That was a big part of his game, was 20 points on free throws, and we ain't seeing that. It's funny, I'm looking at the Cadillac go by. I saw one of my neighbors in the apartments by me. I heard it, vroom, vroom, vroom. So people still stealing catalytic converters. And it doesn't take a minute to, jack up the car in the front, get under, saw that shit off in 2 spots. Especially you get electric saw. Zzz, zzz. And I'm sure my neighbors used to do that too. Jimmy Butler gets revenge on Philly. Actually, I still don't see why Embiid can't play unless he got headaches. You get all this busted up. It's a lot of pressure just, as you move your face. You get this busted up in here. That's the biggest thing, is when you move, even laying down hurts. So it's hard to get comfortable. Of course, when you sleep, turning on your head like that ain't comfortable. So it's pain tolerance. But it makes you wonder. Again, he shouldn't have been in the game. Why is he in the game when you're up by 20? And then Doc Rivers, he was told to be kept in the game. So real or fake, it could be. But if I'm wrong about things, I'm the first to admit that I'm wrong. On the news, is still in Hyundai with a USB cord. On the news, is still in Hyundai's with a USB cord. Wow, Dee, I hadn't heard that. Embiid to play, gonna play, uncertain. Yeah. I understand what's wrong with him. And I know people that had them kind of injuries before. And so, yeah, it's hard to relax, hard to get comfortable. That's the biggest thing. I mean, other times you get hurt, you can be comfortable. It's ways to be comfortable, but with that kind of injury laying down, it's hard. So, but Harding, I mean, this is one of the, even without Embiid, this is still a good team, and Harding should be able to carry the team. So it just shows you that Harding ain't what we all thought. Or again, he got help with a lot of calls, basket manipulation. But if I go down, I'm going down with the ship. I still say that they get this series, and I still say they come out the East. So if they don't, then I'm wrong. But that's my prediction. AD still. I'm seeing Bucks and Warriors. Okay. Bucks and Warriors. Yeah, I'm definitely still staying with the Warriors. No doubt about that. Harden can't carry the team. He carried Houston. So has he aged that much in a couple years? Mavs versus Heat. I don't know. I think the Mavs is in trouble. I think the Mavs are in trouble. Now it's possible that they let the Heat get in again, because the Heat have won before, and we see, that's what they want. They want teams that have won before. They don't really want teams that haven't won in there. So Adam Silverman won't have Warriors in the whole thing. I don't know about that. Mavs don't have a good team at all. No, the Mavs really ain't balanced. 2011 rematch. That's a good point. 2011 rematch. But I don't see them letting Mavs in. As I said before, they don't like Luka. I don't know what Luka did, but they don't like Luka. Luka ain't got any national commercials. That tell you right there. But neither did Dirk. Dirk didn't have any. Nowinski, Dirk didn't have any national commercials either. But there's something about Luka that the establishment doesn't like. Somebody, well, I guess he's a Slav or a Czech. Somebody was like calling him Eastern Bloc, but that's really what they're called. But that part of the country, the dude that they got rid of is the same thing. Wants more parity. But see, that's going back into that Pete Rozelle stuff. That was Pete Rozelle's rap, parity in the NFL. And so that's an old agenda of sports is parity. If they really wanted true parity, they wouldn't have a lottery. Do you know how many years the Timberwolves was the worst team, and yet they picking at 8, 9, 10 because of the lottery? That ain't giving you parity. At least in the NFL, if you the worst, you get to pick first. That makes more sense. But the NBA doesn't make sense. And we know that that's rigged. Like they said about the Patrick Ewing one. You shaking it up, but you make the envelope cold. So as he's filling in there, he feels the cold envelope. He knows that's New York. That is crooked. And so the lottery ain't real. That ain't real either. It's all staged too. So I don't know about that parity thing. I don't really see it like that. Luka this year, then Brian back-to-back Cavs for his last two. I don't know. LA, it made no sense. And I say this was probably a rest year for LeBron and Carmelo. Davis trade still stupid trade. LeBron had everything around him that he needed and got rid of it because he thought Davis just can't handle it. Davis just can't handle it. And that bubble was a joke. I mean, anybody counts that, it should be an asterisk beside the year the bubble wins. Little bug or something. Kings missed the playoffs 16 straight seasons and didn't get a number one pick. There you go. Right there. So there's no parity in that. There's no parity. That ain't building their team up. They picking 10th, 11th. And then you reward some of them teams that have decent, like some go 500 and still they get rewarded with these picks. Yep. 21 is an asterisk also. Yeah. So yeah, he don't really want parity. I mean, they rig and they build up the names they want. You see the dude you see in commercials. That's to me, that's what Chris Paul only gonna get. He only gonna get commercials. I don't see Paul getting a championship. Just don't see it. I think he's just gonna be the lovable loser, as I said. He gonna do the walk of shame again. They're gonna put the thing on him. As I said, the first one I saw do that was Oscar Robertson. You know, they'll glance at the loser. I bet somewhere they got Wilt like that, where Wilt lost. Adam Silver been commissioner since 14. Yeah, bet since 14. And another Jewish faith person, and Jewish faith people have always controlled basketball. That's just a fact. They've started the first basketball leagues. The clusters, the summer resorts, the Jewish faith people all had their own summer resorts. What's his name? Meyer Lansky. Meyer Lansky had a resort up in the Catskills. All these Jewish faith resorts, because again, you know, it was a time where Jewish faith people wasn't considered Europeans or the white. Okay, Jesus saves. What's happening? They rigged the games. Of course they rigged the games. The games have always been rigged. But it's controlled by really one group, though, too. Jewish faith people control basketball and always have. That's who controls it. And that's, you know, not trying to shame anybody, but that's the truth. And you just look at the history of it. It's always been controlled by them. And as you know, I'll argue with Zach Hubbard. Them peoples is in the Jesuits. So, and a lot of the Catholics, so-called Catholics, is really Jewish faith people. I mean, that's how they did it. I get into the history all the time about Inquisition. Inquisition made them run and hide. But when they ran and hid, they found out that it was easier to control under the guise of Christianity. Why do you think they stick the two books together? That makes no sense. The Jesus story makes no sense stuck to the Jewish faith people story. Makes no sense. So you got all these other people studying Jewish faith myths, stories. You know, Moses leading people out of the caves. That kind of stuff. Yeah, Adam Silver tells superstars. Well, I mean, it's more than that. It's more than that. As I said, the big egghead person in the control booth, they all get together and they say, this is the kind of, they look at people's skill set. And this is where analytics joins this too. They look at people's skill sets. They put the teams together. They know the teams that won't do well. They put them together too. They know what to expect from them teams. They know who's going to. That's why, I mean, if sports was real, there wouldn't be any injury report. Injury reports are for gamblers. That's for gamblers. It ain't got nothing to do with the love of the game. I'm a regular sports fan, and I don't gamble, but that's what it is. And they've been doing that shit since football, pro football, and college football's almost been in existence, where you have the injury report. When it used to be physical newspapers, it was always in physical newspapers. Point spread, a lot of the point spreads was in physical newspapers. Then you look up games now, all that stuff is still there. It's just in digital form sent to us on our phones. So the gambling aspect always been part of it. And as my father said before, to quote my father, they ain't gonna let two niggas control who gonna win. Like in a boxing match, they ain't gonna let the niggas control who gonna win. Yes, a couple times you may see. There's been some times where dude knocked out a guy he wasn't supposed to knock out, but that's rarely. And then when that does happen, that fighter suffers consequences. And, you know, that's why I come in and I speak about it so much. So that's my thoughts on it. I never studied Jewish stuff. Yeah, I never studied it. Yeah. CWE agreed. Why study that? That makes no sense. That makes no sense at all. Because, and then this is their excuse, where they try to tie Yahshua back to Adam. They say that's why they have to glue the two together, because Yahshua goes back to Adam. he begot, you know, this just made up stuff that makes no sense. It's all made up stuff. As I say, look up Ancestral Productions work, and he shows you where they copied their book. And these people, like they talk about gypsies. Jewish faith people was the gypsies. Look up how many countries they've been put out of. I mean, it's amazing. Like they want to say about Hitler, but it's amazing where everywhere these suckers went, they was eventually pushed out the country. That's why I study Isabella. I mean, Isabella went to the war over Moors. Isabella did not. The Moors were not treated as bad as Jewish faith people. And I know a lot of people, it's an age thing, but when I was a child, there was always movies about the Inquisition, having mugs on the rack, torturing them mugs. You know, that chamber where it's them spikes and shit, where you stand up, but if you start sagging down, you start getting ripped by spikes. This was all against them. I mean, they got cases where I talk about, you know, none of the Moors, the slide had on there, talk about Zag El Zagago. I'm old man right now, but none of them talked about him, on him selling out because Isabella recognized him as the leader of the Moors and let him go. And then he again was eyes gouged out and captured. And then she fought, went to Geneva and took the final, or Toledo took that. But that was war against them. That wasn't Inquisition. Inquisition put, you know. And so same thing with Columbus. The first European to set ground was a Jewish faith person. Columbus, Jewish faith. That stuff about him and being Italian was to take the gangster stuff off the Italians. And then the gangsters, you know, Meyer Lansky, Bugsy Siegel. I mean, you look at all the gangsters as an Italian thing, but it was just as many gangsters Jewish, if not more. Never been a people that told the grounds. They always was ones that made the money. I'm wearing Levi's. So, you know, this is the kind of thing. But I study everything, you know, and it's like I don't absorb that stuff, but I look at it, and I look at it from, you know, a knowing perspective. But it's funny, and you know, you're looking at drugs and, you know, this chemical, if you have chemical imbalances, and look at this stuff, and the commercials have to tell you the side effects. Like, shit, is this shit? I'm like looking at some of this stuff. Like one of this stuff was a bipolar thing, and it was like you could use this with lithium. Do you know what lithium does to you? Before my nephew was passed, he was court ordered, forced to use lithium. And lithium is a type of almost heroin-like. Yeah. And it leaves people literally, oh, there she is. Well, little mini me is here. I will be on the Chocolate Mountain Show tonight. Holler at me then. I think it's games. Holler at the games tonight. Till we meet again, say less.